Hi, welcome to Calc 2, you crazy people, you. Um, I'm going to send this around for you to sign in today. By the end of next week, I hope to have a seating chart so I know all of you, and then I can just look around and not have to send out this paper. So please initial next to your name. If you have a preferred name or a nickname that's not on there, please feel free to add to it. Please write only next to your own name. I find myself in an awkward position. As you saw me earlier playing around, how long do you think I've been doing this? Problem. I took my first calculus course 40 years ago, 1986. I've only been doing this maybe 10, 15 years. I've been doing calculus for 40. I'm going to make it look easy. It's not, but that's okay. There are people who make their living doing this. I'm not one of them either. I make my living doing calculus, among other things. But very deliberately, I'm warning you up front that this is where you need to be doing the thing I did to get to this point. Say it louder. Practice. Practice. If you're on a sports team, how much of your time is spent watching film of yourself, of your competitors, of the teams you're in? Some of it, but quite a lot of it is spent on the practice field. Because there's muscle memory. There's mental requirements. Even if you're just learning what the play call is. And so you can get to the point where you know what's happening before something starts. That's what happens here. I remember where my hands need to be, which allows me to look at you instead of this most of the time. Yet I'll still screw up. And we'll have to make up for it. Practice is what's required. I'm actually training the 3 pounds between your ears more than anything else. Okay. That's the motivational speech side of this game. You did Calc 1. You know calculus. Single variable calculus now takes on a new piece. Because we did a lot of things, I need to keep going. I need to get through other coordinate systems. I need to get through other approaches to the way we address infinity. Because that's what derivatives and integrals were. There were ways of addressing infinity. The infinitely small, that's what dx is. Whether we're using that to measure infinitely small changes or infinitely small, thin rectangles for integrals. That idea is what we're going to expand on this semester. So we're going to do 5 more chapters. Chapters 7 through 11 to get through all of those ideas. The calculus of one variable with applications. Okay. This is me. This is where you can call me or find my full weekly schedule. Talk to me on Discord if you want. There's a server there. All of my office hours are over in Reeves 108 in the Math Enrichment Center. If you've not been there, go. You go into Reeves, you go all the way to the back where IT is and hang it right with the next room over. Brownlee Mathematics Center, that's us. You can also do the office hours virtually. Just let me know if you want to get on Google Meet, send me an email. Otherwise, I won't have it open and I won't know you're there and I won't be able to interact with you there. You should have If you are part of the Griffin Book Bundle, a physical copy of the book waiting for you at the bookstore. If you choose to buy the book through another fashion or you opted out of the book bundle, that's fine. You can rent it, you can acquire it from the manufacturer. That is the correct ISBN for the 9th edition. But the book is not on our virtual section on Canvas for course materials. Through the math major, those are the objectives we have for the math program. My goal is to get you through these ideas in this fashion. Come to class. As you can see, I'm taking attendance. If you want to pass, I have correlative evidence and statistically significant evidence that says coming to class increases your odds of passing. Increases your odds. I'd like to make guarantees, but I've learned not to do that. I believe that I have an added value to people simply sitting and reading a book, because the calc book was written by people who really understand it. And most of the time, that's not me. So my job is to translate the book for you, to give you a deeper insight into what they actually meant. Attendance will be taken at every class meeting. Please let me know if you're not going to be here. Excused absences, I will mark them, but Canvas doesn't. That's why Canvas will record attendance. But if you look at the grade distribution on Canvas, you'll see that's weighted 0% of your grade because it doesn't know the difference between excused absence and not. Homework. I'm going to collect homework every week. There is a set of problems to be graded per section. We usually turn in 3 sections at a time. I will randomly select one of the problems to be graded for correctness. The rest of them are done on completion. Please do them. I won't know which problem until I sit down to grade the stuff at home and roll a die. There is a list. Every section of the problems to be turned in. Notice there's, 4, 5, 6 of them. Oh, there's a big section down there. It's got what, 8, 9? Oh. But there's a reason for all of this. The rest of these are up to you if you want to do them or not. I will only grade from this selection. Homework is the practice that builds the muscle memory. Only rather than building it here, it's building it between your ears. It is designed to encourage you to parallel what you saw me do, what the book does in its examples, and to expand on those ideas. It builds recall and increases your ability to do things subsequently. Homework should be turned in early for prearranged absences. Once the homework is due at end, assignments will be accepted only for half credit. Up to 1 calendar week after the due date, must be turned in at least 1 day before the exam, which covers those sections. I will have tutors at some point, I think. If I don't, come see me. If you don't have a tutor for this course, I'm your next best spot. We had people lined up. I know at least one of them didn't come back to Seton Hill. I don't know where they transferred to, but oh well. I can't force them here to be your tutor. Penji is available. There is an announcement on our Canvas page that will allow you to get appointments, drop-ins, and everything else. My office hours are on there as well. Those were earlier. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3. Tuesday and Thursday, 2 to 3:35. Just come meet me over in the Enrichment Center. Class ends at 2 o'clock on Tuesday and Thursday. I will make my way over there as fast as possible. Turned in assignments should be neat, legible, on paper. Handwritten, you want to use your iPad and a stylus, that's fine. Don't have a problem with that. But please make it so I can actually read it, which means if you write really small, blow it up. Don't try and fit it all on one page. The paper is not that expensive. I promise we'll be able to get you printed out. If you write in a spiral notebook, see if there are perforations on the edge there. If not, just make sure you tear the fringes off. Makes my life easier. There are 4 scheduled exams. All the way at the bottom. Three in-semester exams and a comprehensive final. Everybody should take all the exams. Notice, there's our first one. 4 weeks. And notice it says exactly what it covers. And it says here exactly what we're going to do. The due dates for homework assignments are after these days. So 7/1, 7/2, and 7/3 are all due on September 3rd. But that means September 2nd, you can come in here and go, all right, I'm stuck on this problem, help. What you can't do is come in on September 2nd and say, okay, let's start with 7/1, the first problem, because I'm not doing them all. But if you come in with specific questions, that's what these days are for. And then assignments are due subsequent to that. On Canvas, in the left-hand margin are all of the tabs you can pull up. Assignments is there. Every due date is on there, including the exam dates. Homework is due at the beginning of class. Exam times are listed as being due at the end of class. So don't let the time throw you. The final is comprehensive. I apologize. I don't make the final exam schedule. Oh, wrong pile. Wednesday, 10:30. It ain't that bad for a 10 o'clock class. My last year's exam was at 8 a.m. Don't have to do that to you this time. If you are going to miss an exam, and I know in advance, we'll arrange a makeup. If I don't know in advance, please let me know as soon as humanly possible why you're not here for an exam. You're driving up Route 30, you blow a tire, call me. And that message that you leave at that number will get turned into an email and emailed to me. And I'll be able to hear that message through my email. And then I won't freak out because you're not here, and I won't be calling your advisor or your RA going, where are they? Provide me a reason. You blew a tire, take a picture. Put it on the in the email you're going to send to me. If you can't provide me justification for your absence, then there won't be a makeup. Your next exam will count double. Please notice that each exam is about 18% of your grade. That means if you miss one and double up, one exam is now 36% of your grade. 1 hour for more than a third of your grade? That's heavy, man. Don't do that to yourself. Please take all the exams. Technology. You should still have the graphing calculator you used last semester. I use this particular TI. I've had this one for well over 15 years. It works perfectly fine. I still don't know why TIs cost the same today that they did when I bought this 15 years ago. I think they're screwing with us because most of the rest of the tech I buy gets cheaper as time goes on. But what I don't have here in front of me is a calculator that says CAS. If you have a calculator that says CAS, that's a computer algebra system. That's like Wolfram Alpha. That's not helpful because then it knows and I don't have to know. I want a calculator that is a dumb device, not connected to the internet, not connected to that sort of database behavior. You don't have to use a TI, a Hewlett-Packard, a Casio. They all work perfectly well. If you've got questions, come talk to me. You'll have a lot of access to a lot of technology. You can use Wolfram Alpha, Desmos, all sorts of different things that you like using or have used in the past. During an exam, this is what you have. That's unfortunately all you have during an exam. So please make sure this is something you can use And this is something you can use. To that end, AI. I absolutely think using AI can be a great benefit sometimes. Sometimes. You decide how much or how little you want to use it. Please understand, I can't stop you, except during an exam when you don't have access to it. Using it as a study coach to review things, to simplify, to pad out. If you have this giant calculation that you're looking at in the textbook example, and it goes from step A to step B, and you're like, what the happened here? You can take that picture, upload it to Gemini, and say, between lines 2 and 3, a lot of things happened. Show me that. And it will. It'll expand that calculation out frequently. The reason I'm suggesting Gemini is twofold. One, you have access to it through your Gmail accounts. And two, we are siloed. So any data you upload to Gemini through your CPL account does not become part of their general training data. That keeps us inside and prevents them from mining your brains. Generating answers for homework, worksheet, projects via AI is an academic integrity issue. I already know Chegg exists. Every single problem I'm going to assign you, every single problem in that textbook is already out there. If you want the answers, you can find them. Is it going to help you? In one sense, it might. Because you can say, I'm stuck here. What's the next step? That's helpful. But if you simply pull the answer out, copy it down, and turn it in as if it was your own work, I'm not sure it spent all that long in your brain. And that's the piece I need it to be in. More importantly, relying on AI for answers harms your learning. I saw a reel on Instagram last night. And it's the kid, the teacher at the front of the room saying, I'm teaching you how to critically think. You all need to do this, not the AI. And then it cuts to the guy in the boardroom going, you're all fired, everything's AI. They're profit motivated. I'm not. I don't care if I make money with calculus. I care that you make money in your job, and that might be something that needs some calculus. So I'm not bottom line motivated to use AI to get rid of you if my goal is to keep you. I saw, again, I have a short story from Isaac Asimov from 1950 something about the auto teacher, where the reel-to-reel tape came to your house and you played it, and the lesson was delivered, and you fed your answers that you put in your punch cards, this is how old the tech was at the time, into the auto teacher, and it graded you. And these two kids found a primer about Dick and Jane Go to School. What school? Wouldn't it have been nice to be with all these other people in a communal setting, trying to get something together? If AI is going to replace people, it's going to replace me. It's the reason I don't upload my stuff. So, personal opinions aside, be careful in the way you choose to use AI. My goal is to train you to do things, not for you to train an AI to do so. There's the grading distribution, there's the grading scale. If you earn an 82 in this class, you are guaranteed at least a B-. Notice that word, at least. I don't know what, if any, curve will be applied to this course. I do not calculate any curvature until the end of the final. No individual assignments are curved, only the overall grades. So if you're going to ask me in December, what can I do to bring my grade up? I'm going to ask you to get to 88 miles an hour in your DeLorean and come back to August and try and do it from here. Start now. I am recording this Zoom. This camera is piped directly into my laptop. What's up there is getting recorded along with my voice. If you are not here, you can see this recording. But its class is designed for face-to-face behavior. I will post anything I write under here to Canvas as well. I did this last semester on our Canvas page. Click, click. Please load. I love the little spinny thing at the top there telling me it's trying to get there. There we go. There is a module here at the bottom about class scans. There is a link in this web link section for the YouTube playlist for all the recordings. It hasn't been published yet because I don't get to publish it until after I put the first recording up and get the playlist information, but it'll be there. There's the link for office hours and for the Discord server. All of this stuff goes here. Up here in the top is a handout on how to get to the YouTube thing, how to scan homework if you're not going to be here. Remote delivery if we have to do it. I'm hoping we don't. If you have large equipment bags, art bags, sports bags, etc., please put them against that wall out of the way so that the aisleway is clear in case we have to leave in a hurry. There's a stairwell immediately behind us. If we have to leave, that's our exit. The rally points across the circle. Please don't obstruct access to and from the corridor. Starfish, you'll get information in Starfish. Attendance surveys, progress surveys, you'll get some stuff in Starfish. I believe at least 4 times a semester. Please check your Seton Hill email. That's where it gets delivered to. Speaking of email, email is your best first way to get in contact with me. It's the easiest. Send me an email. It'll pop up on my phone. I'll answer it as quick as I can. But I'm here at the gym at about 6:30. I therefore go to bed a little early, so I'm not usually available between 9:30 and 7:30, but I guarantee a response within 24 hours. If it's an emergency, don't call me. Call your RA, call your cop, call the fire department. Don't call me for emergencies. I haven't had a calculus emergency ever. I don't expect you guys to start them. But really, you're down the highway, you blow a tire, yeah, call me, email me. I promise it'll be okay. For schedule, everything we're going to do for the whole term on that page with the exams, whole semester, all the due dates are available to you in Canvas. And there it is. Some of you may get it faster than others during the lecture. If somebody is looking at me going, come on already. The reason I'm still hammering that point is because somebody behind you is looking at me like, huh? I want to make that facial expression go away. If you're bored, try not to snore or sleep with your eyes open. Please make sure your valid email address is in Griffin Gate and Canvas. By default, things go to your Seton Hill account. If you forward that to something else and respond to me from there, that's fine. Please let me know who you are and why. Put the subject email should contain your class number so I know what's going on. I don't remember who countrybutterfly25@yahoo.com is, but I got emails from her for a whole semester. Please make sure your cell phone is set to silent or vibrate. I don't want, Mambo number 5 coming out of somebody's pocket in the middle of class, or move, get out the way. I don't know what your ringtone is. Texting, all right, come on, I'm asking for 50 minutes. Please try not to lose it for your thumbs. Please don't wear earphones or earbuds during class unless you've got documentation for a reason for them. Hearing aids look a lot like those really small full enclosure earbuds, so I don't know, and I will ask questions about it. No tobacco use in campus buildings. If you smoke, please try not to go through withdrawal too badly. Smoking cessation materials are available up in health services upstairs. But I am more concerned with chewing tobacco and snuff. Because if you bring a cuspidor into this room as a spit jar and then it knocks over and gets into this wood, they have to sand the entire floor. Please don't. Title IX statement. I am a mandatory harassment responder reporter. Not that I have to mandatorily harass you all, although calculus is harassment to a lot of people. If I see something, I am required to say something. If you tell me something, I am required to say something. If you don't want to say something to me because of that, please contact some of these people. Counseling Center, Campus Ministry, the Blackburn Center. Counseling Center is at the other end of the hall. Campus Ministry is down in Morrow. The Blackburn Center is a 24-hour response line. But I'm required to say things. If you want to talk to me, please do. But I will have to report it to our Title IX coordinator. Accommodations. If you are legally entitled to accommodations, please make sure you've met with the people upstairs in health services and that they have the paperwork to process through the accommodate system so that I can give you the things you are legally entitled to. I will get a form, I will take the form, I will ask to meet with you, and then we will go through and check mark how am I going to address each of these things, and off we go from there. Because things are being recorded, if we run into sensitive topics, I will stop the recording, but this is calculus. I don't expect to have many of them. If you feel uncomfortable with something being discussed and want it not to be recorded, please feel free to talk to me. I can mute this. I can turn it off. We have options. Academic engagement. So far today, you have sat and listened. Kind of boring. But being actively engaged in learning means participating in class discussions, answering questions, responding to each other and to me, and making sure that you are engaged with the material, not just the few minutes in class. Ideally, I'm spending what? A grand total of about 60 hours with you. That's a third of a high school academic year. So I'm blowing through stuff 3 times faster than they are. For every hour inside the course, usually the expectation is 2 hours worth of work outside. Now, what does that work consist of? Well, doing homework, reading your notes, addending your notes, deciding whether or not you're going to keep them on paper, scan them and put them into a document that you're going to keep in Google Drive. If you're taking them on your stylus and tablet, clarifying things, circling, filling out, coming and asking me, what does this mean? I'm good with that. My goal is to support you in getting this into your head as best as possible. Being engaged is the way you show me that that's what you want to do too. I get theater productions, sports classes, other extracurriculars. If you're going to miss, that's why these are recorded. That's why my notes are posted, so that you can then see all these things. Academic honesty. Don't cheat. That's really what it comes down to. But what does cheating mean in this course? Well, I've already said that if you basically copy your answer from someone else and turn it in as your own work, whether that someone is another person in this class, Chegg, Claude, whoever, that's not really your work. I don't appreciate it. It's going to take some substantial evidence for me to know that it's not your work. My favorite was I had somebody talk to me about inverse hyperbolic tangent of imaginary quantities, which was a correct answer to that problem, but that's something no one in this calculus class should have been exposed to at this point in time. So I had no idea how the hell they got it. And they couldn't explain it to me either. The answer was on Chegg that way. Plagiarism, cheating on exams, falsification of papers, non-sanctioned collaboration. Okay, non-sanctioned collaboration is a bad thing. What's sanctioned collaboration? Work together. Work with each other. Form a study group. We might actually have some official ones run through the enrichment center. But if not, work with each other on stuff. Now, that doesn't mean you do problem 1 and you do problem 2 and I do problem 3 and then we all trade papers. It means I've done all three problems and I'm like, hey, how did you do this one? I'm stuck here. Or can you look this over and tell me what you see? Or I look at yours and I go, well, that's not how I did that. And there are lots of different ways to do a problem. So who knows which one is going to stick with you? That's sanctioned collaboration. We should do that. I want you to be as active as you can be in this material. Calculus looks like it's a really passive activity. I sit here, I read, I'm done. Math is nothing if not a fight. A fight with your own brain to take someone's crazy idea from 350 years ago or more and turn it into useful, actionable understanding. I don't know what problems you are going to be solving. I don't know what issues you have to address in your chosen careers. But I do know the way you think about them is changed by doing math. And that approach lasts everywhere. Questions? Stay. Okay. I'm going to hit the ground running and remind you that this is Calc 2, and that means that Calc 1 should be living in your brain right now. So what did we spend Calc 1 doing a lot of? Derivatives and integration. The majority of what we do in Calc 2, the majority of it is focused on integration. There are other places where we will rebend our approach to derivative when we look at other coordinate systems and other behaviors. But most of the time we will spend working on integration. So I need to remember how to integrate. And the best part about this is that most of the rules that I learned in Calc 1 work backwards. So I can give you a function and say, hey, this is the derivative of something. And then I can ask you, what was that the derivative of? And now I can start thinking of all the derivative rules. So, where did this derivative come from? What was that? X cubed. Why do I know that this came from x cubed?
Power comes down and then you subtract them.
I like that. However, I'm sorry. Well, let's think about that. When I was doing derivatives, the derivative of x to some power told me to bring that power down and subtract 1 from up here. We gave that a name. Anybody remember what we called this thing? The power rule. So if I'm working backwards, I should have a power rule that works the other way. that undoes this item. And I would say, okay, if I know that my derivative looks like this, hang on a second. I'm using n up here and I'm using it to say, let's change this letter just so it doesn't confuse people any more so than they already are. So if I have this as a derivative, then it should have come from something that was 1 power higher. But there's no number in front of this. When I took derivatives, what would happen if I had a number in front of this? What if instead of taking the derivative of x cubed, I took the derivative of 7x cubed? I'm sorry, say that again? So I keep that number there and just bring the thing down and just ignore the 7 until I got to the end. Which means the fact that I don't have whatever numbers needed here means there has to be something there that canceled it out. This is the number that would have come down. But I ended up with a 1. So I need those two things to multiply together to give me a 1. And that means that this number must be 1 over the power I started. Sorry, the power I ended up with. It's the power rule, but it's the power rule for antiderivatives instead of the power rule for derivatives. However, as soon as I see this, my brain goes, wait a minute, I'm dividing. It is possible for dividing to put something up. When does dividing get done? Whatever makes 0 in my denominator. And in this case, that's only going to happen once. When this is 0, that means m must be a -1. So this only works when we're not dealing with a -1 power. So our power rule for derivatives works for any power. Our power rule for antiderivatives has an exception. But wait, there's more. Let me go back to the example we started with 3x squared, right? And I know that the correct antiderivative is x cubed. So I say to myself, oh, that's a true statement. The derivative of x cubed is 3x squared. I would like the derivatives of g, h, and I, please. In all three of those cases. Why? Those are constants. And the derivative of any constant is a 0. So I actually made a slight misstatement when I spoke earlier. I said that x cubed was the antiderivative for 3x squared. It's actually one of infinitely many antiderivatives for 3x squared. And in general, I'm going to have some constant that I may or may not know the value of. Because when I take the derivative of all of those constants, they give me a zero. So really, I should say this. And this is now a general antiderivative. Whereas these are all particular antiderivatives that have particular values for the constants. That's now a general one. So we'll see that plus C all over the place when we're taking antiderivatives, when we're integrating. And that's going to give us a more general version. Questions? Advantage. I know a whole lot of derivatives. And if I know a whole lot of derivatives, then I effectively know a whole lot of antiderivatives, as long as I take those rules and work them backwards. Here are 4 more functions. I should remember what these are the derivatives of. Now, I'm the first person to tell you that the longer it's been since you've used something, the easier it is for it to go right out your ear. And I know trig is one of those things that just kisses itself off into the atmosphere really easily. That formula sheet will be given to you this month, exactly as you see it here. So that means you don't have to remember trig derivatives or inverse trig derivatives, because you'll have this. This sheet is on our Canvas page in the handout section. You should pull it down so that you get used to looking at it. Now, if you've already got these memorized, more power to you. But if you don't, they're here. So I say to myself, cosine. What is cosine the derivative of? Right there. The derivative of sine is cosine. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. Remember, we're going backwards. So I need to know the thing I'm looking for should be on this side, not this side. That's sign error. That plus or minus is the most common mistake in trig functions. Question?
Want to use this on the.
It will be attached to the exam. You're welcome. Before I get there, what did I forget? Let's see. My first calculus teacher, Maria Soto, I went to high school in Miami. She was from the University of Havana. Woman was about this tall, looked like a barrel, and I had her at 7:30 in the morning, and she was vicious. Every time you did an antiderivative, you had to put down that plus C. Even if later you were going to figure out what the particular value was for that plus C, you had to have it here. And you had to put it on every single line where you were doing algebra to simplify stuff, or she took a point off. I got back a homework with a negative score. Because every time it wasn't on a line, I lost a point. Well, I learned not to forget that plus C. Thank you, Maria. Yes, the e to the x is its own antiderivative, right? It's its own derivative. The derivative of e to the x is e to the x. So the antiderivative is e to the x. Well, but if there's a number, then I treat it like a constant, right? Like the 7 or the 1 over m plus 1. I mean, constants stay there. E to the x just changes. If it's not e, if it's something else, then I'm going to have to work based on what base that is. Because it would be 1 over like the other one, right? 1 over 1 plus x squared. Aha, it's another one off my formula sheet. Now, because this is an inverse trig function, it gives you an angle when you give it a tangent, right? And angles in this course are measured in radians. Degrees are evil. Radians are measures of arc. They measure pieces of circles. So you will also see this sometimes referred to as the arctangent function. There's an arc sine and an arc cosine instead of just using the inverse, because that -1 seems to say to me, put it 1 over, and I don't like that. All right, this is my weird ass case. Because 1 over x is the same as x to the -1. That's the thing I can't use the power rule on. But the derivative being 1 over x came from the natural log of x. But this x is not allowed to be 0. It could be positive, it could be negative, right? But in this, what's the domain, algebra question, of ln of x? What numbers are allowed in, what numbers are not allowed in? Grab your calculators. Take the ln of -1. What did your calculator say when you did the ln of -1? Error. Unless you've got your calculator set up weird, in which case you got a complex answer. 1.57 something or other times I. You can't put a negative into a logarithm. It doesn't make sense in the real number system. So I need to make sure that this is allowing negatives. This needs to allow negatives also. The way to do that is with an absolute value. It's one of the sneaky tricks we did when we took the derivative in the first place. We showed that it worked in general. Correct. Well, in the ln, we want the argument to be non-negative. So then there would be an absolute value of -x, and I'd need to use the chain rule too. But we'll have to figure out how to deal with the chain rule.
I mean, like when you're going from derivative.
So it comes out in the antiderivative, yes, not in the derivative itself. If that was negative, I'd put the negative out front instead of here. If I am given additional information, for example, in G, careful. That extra information is called an initial condition or a boundary condition. And something like that allows me to solve for the value of C. So I know that G of X is going to look like this. But now I can say, oh, G of 0, therefore, is e to the 0 plus c. And that's equal to 2. What's e to the 0? 1. So c is equal to 1. And that means that my g of x is now a particular function rather than a general function. You did all this last semester, last year, when you took Calc 1. I have posted a set of exercises from this textbook. You should read the section notes. This is chapter 4, section 9, I believe, in the textbook. As refresher, so that you can say, oh yes, I do remember how to do these. But then I have to work on the other rules, because we've got chain rule, product rule, quotient rule, lots of other rules or things I have to deal with, and that's what we'll pick up Wednesday. I will see you all then. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Welcome to fall semester. If you came in late and have not already signed the sign-in sheet, please make sure you sign it before you leave. If you are one of the people for whom I have accommodations already, can you please come talk to me? I will see you all on Wednesday.